Last night, my family and I finished watching again the first season of a show called The Chosen that portrays the life of Jesus Christ. We've loved the show, and so this was our second time through it. The final episode of the season, as one of the storylines that's being followed, portrays Christ and his disciples going to Samaria, and specifically Christ meeting with the woman at the well. The story has become increasingly impactful on me as to what it means about what Christ was doing. Elder Gay of the 70, who also came to our stake conference several years ago here in Stockton, in general conference, he noted how it was to this woman in Samaria that he first declared himself to be the Christ. Now, the show, The Chosen, does a fabulous job of showing this as well. If you think about all the ways that this would not be the individual that many would think of as being the person that Christ would go to first declare himself as the Christ. She was a woman, and of course women are not, at that time, were not valued the same in their society. But Christ was pushing against that societal value. She was a Samaritan, and of course the Jews had rejected the Samaritans as not worthy of being a part of their group. She was also a woman living in sin. She was breaking the law of chastity at that time. And so Christ went to what almost seems like the least valued person that he could find in terms of what the society around valued. And he made it clear to her that she mattered to him. He knew about her. He was able to tell her about her life. And he also made it clear in his teachings that though people had said you can only worship here or you can only worship there, that the time was shortly coming where all people could worship God in the ways that they could most connect to him in spirit. I'm impacted within our current societal settings by how what Christ did was really an act, in a sense, of what we would call today anti-racism. He purposely and specifically went out of his way to find somebody who was part of the downtrodden, and he seemed to have done this regularly in his ministry. Of course, he used later the parable of the Good Samaritan, somebody who was again rejected by society, as demonstrating a helpful and good act over other individuals. Anti-racism is going beyond just not being a person with prejudice. Anti-racism is actively working to help overcome the barriers of systemic racism and other prejudice. Of course, at our most recent general conference, President Nelson said the following: "Today I call upon our members everywhere to lead out in abandoning attitudes and actions of prejudice. I plead with you to promote respect for all of God's children." Christ is the great example of that. He was able to be with and connected with all people regardless of their circumstances. He purposely reached out to those who were downtrodden, those who were left behind by their society, who were rejected. Many today struggle thinking that they don't have personal prejudice, though of course all of us have some level of prejudice. All individuals do. And we treat others differently based on various standards. But the reality is that within our society there are ongoing issues of systemic racism. And we are being called on to help overcome our own attitudes and actions of prejudice, but to also reach out, following the example of Jesus Christ, in purposely and actively seeking those who are downtrodden. We as a stake, the Stockton stake, have great opportunities to take action on President Nelson's words, to help value in his words again, to promote respect for all of God's children and to actively abandon and help overcome attitudes and actions of prejudice. I'm working to do so. I'm doing my own study, my own work, my own internal examination to try to see where I am contributing or where I have failed to stop others from contributing to racism and prejudice, and to take action to speak up more, to engage others more in anti-racist efforts. And I hope all of us will do the same.